Hey guys, Casual Crono here. In this character development video, we are going to focus on a new character, Izuna, our Raven Tengu. I say new because for me, I've had her for maybe about a week and a half now. It's November 2024 and she was just released not that long ago. Let's see, today's Friday, so it's been a week and a half. Just about. Anyway, bottom line, she's relatively new, and most of these character development videos, I like to spend some time with the character and use them a lot to try and figure them out. That way I can give you all some more in-depth tips and stuff like that. But so far, Izuna seems very, very powerful and very, very direct. So I'm going to try a character development video on a character that's been out for less than 2 weeks. So Izuna is a magic and thunder user. Right now, if I look at her skills, I see that she has a dance series of skills that is designed to improve her intellect and speed and improve damage against weak points. If she happens to be in thunder stance, the int speed buffs are doubled. She gets 100% intelligence and 100% speed boost, and it lasts for 6 turns. She has the ability to inflict poison only, and it ignores target resistance. She can deploy Thunder Stance. She can do a preemptive thunder attack on all enemies, and the strength is increased a whole lot. So Divine Lightning, for example, would be really good for a farming skill. She has Tengu Sublimation, which improves magic damage based on MP value and improves staff-type characters' damage by 50%. It also is one of those chain things, so the more hits that you do with one move, the more damage it does. So if you have a move that does 5 attacks, like for example Rage and Snuff right below it has 4 attacks, but if you have something that does 5 attacks, that's when it maxes out and does a tremendous amount of damage. So she has Rage and Snuff, which does 4 attacks, and it improves her critical rate for 3 moves and gives her a damage barrier. And then she also has a stellar skill, which we'll talk more about later. So if you have her, we're going to go ahead and fight the Nagsham test dummy. What I think is good is if you apply poison. There's your poison. If you apply her increased damage based on MP value, staff damage increases with Tengu Sublimation, and then Rage and Snuff. If we do Rage and Snuff a second time, and on the final turn, we no longer have poison, so you'll see a marked difference. But by herself, just with those 3 skills on the test dummy, I did 82 million in damage. So what was I equipped with to do that? Yeah, talk. Give me your silver coins. Okay. So if you just pull her, and you're working your way through the game, here's kind of the mid-game gear that I have found for her. Void Staff is always nice for any magic damage dealer. It improves her type attack, so her thunder attack would improve, and it gives her a critical rate of 100%. So if a buff falls off or something like that, she still has 100% critical rating. The Guidance Ring improves her type attack, so more thunder damage. Since she's a magic damage dealer, int badge. And because she can put poison on an enemy and they can't resist it, then the Power of Poison series and Venom are good choices. Bullseye Ore is always a great upgrade choice. And actually, now that I'm looking at, I do not have this one upgraded. Let's do that really quick. But typically, Bullseye and the Rose with Thorns, upgrade, staff, Scroll down, let's see. Doesn't really matter which one. But the Rose with Thorns, or which improves damage by 15% but also increases consumption, is usually the standard second upgrade to do. So that 80-something million, I actually might have broken into the 90 million range if I had remembered to upgrade that particular grasta. And as long as the third grasta is a power of poison, its upgrade could be whatever. A lot of people, if there's more than one enemy, will do adversity for the extra damage boost, and it really depends on what you have access to. But the gear that you are seeing right now is pretty standard for around a mid-game, chapters, 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever ones you have access to those particular upgrades. But you can see she is definitely a damage dealer. Her role is damage, and her skills scream damage. One other feature about Izuna is this godlike power that she has. At turn end, after using another force, it stacks 1. Once you get up to 3 godlike powers, you get additional effects to Lunatic Plus. And if you read, with 3 godlike powers towards the bottom, restore 50% of another force gauge and consume all godlike powers. And that's when you are not in another focus or another force with 3 godlike powers. So, if we blow the AF gauge, and we don't have an AF gauge, that means if she goes into lunatic mode with 3 stacks of godlike powers, which is what she has, we instantly have 50% of the AF gauge restored to us. And if you check her status, she no longer has any godlike powers. At turn end, after using another force, stacks 1. So you do your another force thing, blah 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 blah, kill the boss. At the end of this turn, we now have 1 stack. So obviously it's helpful to have 3 stacks of godlike power. If she is Stellar Awakened, one of her tree lines, if you buy the first point, you automatically get 1 stack at the start of the fight, and the AF gauge fills to 50%. If you have Thunder allies at battle start, you start with 100% AF bar. And then if you go further down the line, at the battle start, you stack all 3 right away. So what's that mean exactly? Let's find some Thunder allies. So I'm just going to grab 2 really quick. Cyrus and Kamlanaj. So now we have 3 Thunder users. Start the dummy fight. You'll notice we have the entire AF gauge to work with. So we will go ahead and below it and just do attacks. Let's go ahead and get in Thunder Zone for fun. Whoops, did a Fire Zone. We don't care about Fire Zone. Let's go back to Thunder Zone. If we check her status now, check that out. She already has 3 stacks again. So if I hit Lunatic Plus, and let's just have the others attack, I guess. Sure, why not? we have the AF gauge to work with. So now I can blow the AF gauge, and we will blast the big baddie. She is using her Stellar Burst skill right now, which is why Big Baddie is going down very, very quickly. Thundercrack is absolutely insane. Thundercrack does 5 hits. Its strength is increased 20 times when she's hyper-focused. And in Stellar Burst, let's just do that. In Stellar Burst, she would enter Lunatic mode, but she's already in Lunatic mode. I'll just let it run out. But that's what those godlike powers do. It allows her to basically give you more access to the AF gauge, particularly if you have additional Thunder users. Now keep in mind, I have not been playing with Izuna that long, only about a week, but this is one free team I have come up with. So it involves Mayu, Nona, Particio, and then grasta holders Raven and Asia. So why this team? Let's take a look. Izuna, as you know, is a magic damage dealer. So I could either pair her up with Thunder type characters or Magic type characters. There aren't that many free Thunder characters. I looked at Kamlanaj, I looked at Cyrus, and they don't really have much that supports other Thunder characters. They can kind of buff themselves, but they really can't buff others. So Thunder Team does kind of rely on the gacha. So I focused on the magic side a little bit, and that's where Mayu and Nona in particular comes in. So why Nona AS? Nona AS, let's go to skills. She can cast Devotion or Devotion Zone or something, basically devotion on a character. If she casts devotion on Izuna, then that is reflected in her skills. Concordia will deploy a zone based on the devotion target's weapon type. So if I cast devotion on Izuna, and then on the next turn cast Concordia, I deploy a magic zone. There aren't really any free characters that deploy magic zones as of the time of this filming. So this is kind of a way around that. So we can deploy a magic zone. It's not awakened or anything like that, just a regular old magic zone. So that is Nona AS's purpose in this team. So with that in mind, let's take a look at the characters. Mayu, older character. She has Stars Awake. It heals party members. It grants a 20% damage barrier. With another force gauge maxed out, the healing is improved and the barrier effect goes up. And remember, and Izuna, she kind of has some stellar skills and everything that helps her restore the AF gauge. So that's something to consider if you have her. As far as gear, we have the Dreamy Staff +8, which gives her some type resistance and a regen. The Oriental Ring, which improves her defenses. She has 300 health and 30 MP badge. And then her grasta are all HP based, 300 hit points and then 300 more for ores. And I didn't give her all straight out ores. I have some in reserve, but I'm trying to create a team that is somewhat feasible for characters in like chapters 70s, 80s, 90s can get. So this is certainly very doable for a character, for a player that's going through those chapters. Mid-game gearing. Nona, same thing. Now, my Lollipopper is maxed out from the Wandering Blacksmith, which is not something that characters have access to in chapters like 70s and 80s. So it gives a little more hit points than normal, and it has 9 lives. I've tried to compensate a little bit. I did not give her any grasta upgrades, so she's missing. I could have 900 more health on her if I gave her 3 HP ores, but I didn't. So she has her personal armor, she has a 500 hit point badge, and then just 3 grasta that basically are there for the health, 900 extra health. So that is Nona AS. Izuna is geared the same as before with the Power of Poison series. And Particio, free character, has his personal gear, has a 500 hit point badge, has Power of Rebirth, which can be gotten. I think it's an end boss. I want to say chapter 79. I was reviewing right before I filmed this, but again, a mid-game item. It gives regen, and it has the HP ore, and then just the other 2 are just regular 300 health and HP ores. So with all that, his hit points are 7,100. The grasta holders. Enhance if max HP staff users is something that's acquirable through the Astral Archives and other means, but those are mid-game feasible grasta. And then Sound Body Staff is also a mid-game grasta staff. Grasta, not grasta staff. So all 3 of those are doable in mid-game. And then I just have one of the sisters with Sound Body Bow and Almighty Power Mask. Almighty Power Mask is from the Cheryl Plains Cat Road, so that is definitely doable. And Sound Body Bow is really just there just to give Nona and Particio a little extra health. It doesn't really help Izuna at all. So of Asia's 2 grasta, Almighty Power Mask is the only one actually contributing to Izuna's damage. Now, one drawback with this team, they can't apply poison unless I give her the skill that applies poison, Miasma Bolt, or Mayu has a skill when the AF gauge is at 100%. If I cast Moth's Caprice, it inflicts poison and pain on all enemies for 3 turns. So technically there are 2 characters that can apply poison, but this relies on the AF gauge basically not being used until it reaches maximum. And it doesn't say anything about resistances, so I assume that Moth's Caprice could be resisted. And in Izuna's case, Miasma Bolt ignores target resistance, so this one's probably the better one to use. But she's pretty powerful even without poison. So I'm going to do the training dummy twice. I'm going to do once without poison and one with poison. So we'll start off with poison. Sidekick-wise, Iridian, Healing Iridian, free sidekick, and will heal after every turn, so that's nice to have. So let's see how this team functions on a test dummy. So turn 1, we can reduce resistances. We'll cast Devotion on Izuna. Izuna will go ahead and inflict poison, and the tank typically casts Rage on the first turn, so that's what we're going to do. There's poison. Turn 2, she can cast Rouge Dance, sorry, and it gives a 20% intelligence bonus. She can cast Concordia, which will deploy Magic Zone. She can cast Tengu Sublimation, which will give her basically Mind's Eye. And in his case, we can reduce the enemy's power, intellect, or I can heal the team and improve their max HP. So we're going to go ahead and improve max HP. So here on turn 3, we're in a magic zone. At this point, we've pretty much buffed Izuna as much as this team can. So Mayu can heal the team, grant a damage barrier, and attack with Stars Awake. Castigo can attack. She will go ahead and use Rage and Snuff. And in his case, he can keep healing, he can reduce power. Nothing else he does really boosts Izuna's damage. So Rage and Snuff, you can see, does a decent amount of damage. Remember, this boss has 1 billion health, and she just wiped out maybe 20% of it, so she did just about 200 million in that attack alone. Now, at this point, we're about to lose some of the debuffs and everything. It would be nice to have her continue to attack the big baddie, but unless we cast Miasma Bolt, we're going to lose poison after this turn. So we could basically cycle through again, and on the final turn just attack, or let's have some fun and just blow the AF gauge. All the debuffs are there. We're on turn 4, so all of the 3-turn things like poison, they're still on there. So we're just going to blow the AF gauge and blast everyone's first skill, their attack skills. In Izuna's case, we are going to be spamming Rage and Snuff. When we're not in another force, it attacks again. That's why you saw it attack twice. But we are going to be in another force this time, so it will not be doing double attacks. 1, 1, 1, and 1. And on turn 4, we did 888 million damage and was able to defeat Big Baddie. So that is with a free team, with gear that you can get by, chapter 80-ish, 90-ish area. And I think it's time that we take this team out on a real boss. To test this team out, we are going to fight Shion's True Manifest fight. With the Sword of Sin and Steel mythos going on right now, and Shion being a major player, I figure might as well review a free team with Izuna that can defeat his Manifest. To rearrange a little bit of grasta, we moved the Almighty Power Mask grasta to Raven. So, we could blow the AF gauge right away to set up some things. I'm thinking that would probably be a good idea. We will reduce type resistance. We will increase... Actually, we will try to devotion her if we can. Actually, let's go ahead and spend one turn just kind of setting things up. We will do... Boss has your back for the rage. We will do... let's do Thunder God Dance. First of all, we're going to cast Devotion on Izuna. And she is going to go ahead and let's do the Stars Awake and give everyone a damage barrier as well.
I've got you.
Alright, now would be a good time to blow the AF gauge. So we're going to cast Kogito. We're going to cast Kyokaro. And then move to the 2s, Tengu Sublimation and Arrow of Fortune. We'll get in Rogue Dance and Concordia. Now Concordia, remember that the devotion target is in the front line, so we're going to deploy a magic zone with Nona. So we'll do 3, 3, 2, 2, and then all 2s, and then all 1s. 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, and then all 1s. So we now are in our magic zone. We've reduced some of Shion's damage. And since we're in a magic zone, we want to go ahead and heal up. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Stars Awake. We'll do Wild Stallion. That will heal him up some. Rage and Snuff. And we will redo the... yeah. Let's just go ahead and Castigo. Alright, we've hit an HP stopper. Izuna is going to Rage and Snuff again. We'll go ahead and redo Boss Has Your Back. Get Rage back on there. We'll go ahead and improve physical resistance. And we will do type resistance reduction. There's the second HP stopper. And we can make use of the AF gauge again. So he's been debuffed, he has Rage, and he's gone through both HP stoppers. So really, as long as we blow the AF gauge and hit Rage and Snuff, he's pretty much going to go down. So let's do all 1s. And there we go. We can see that Shion's health is completely gone. And that fight was done without pain or poison. If you have a character that can apply pain or poison, then Izuna could have been doing way, way, way more damage. It's time for us to explore advanced teams. Since Izuna could do magic damage and thunder damage, she can fit into thunder teams and magic teams. So here's one thunder team that I came up with. And gear-wise, you can see. So we have Valette, who is a great thunder support character. Miyu, who can set pain. Izuna, who's been equipped with the Pain series of grasta, and now she has Elpis Rod, Dryad's Ring, and Vitality Badge. And Orlea, our tank. As far as back row characters, you just need any staff user, and I used Yuna, but I gave her 2 Enhance if Max HP staves, and a Power of Thunder staff. And then we have Raven, who has Amnesia and is a Mask user, and has Power of Awakening staff. And Amnesia and Mask are important because Izuna has Amnesia and is a Mask user. If you can work in an Eastern character as well, then you could also use the Almighty Power Eastern grasta. So with this team, Orlea with Dieu Benice can deploy Thunder Stance, and Miyu with her Levin Longitus inflicts pain, and it ignores target resistance. Now, is this, of course, the most perfect team for Izuna? No. It's just a very powerful team that you can use. Now, because she is with a Thunder team, she gets a few extra perks. First of all, you'll notice that the AF gauge is already 100%. So if you use her with a Thunder team, she can immediately blast the AF gauge and have its full range in use. So we are going to go ahead and improve some, basically some buffs before we actually blow the AF gauge. So we're going to do this thunder attack and get the chain going. We are going to, let's see, those two don't matter too much. We'll reduce thunder resistance. We will give Mind's Eye, and we will deploy Thunder Stance because we don't have it yet. Now we are not in an awakened Thunder Zone. Gunts can awaken the Thunder Zone if we want to, and there are a few skills that we can equip that will awaken the zone as well. So, on that note, second turn, we will go ahead and Exousia. We've already reduced thunder resistance, so now we can look at other options. In this case, we're just going to go ahead and inflict pain. She will do the Thunder God Dance, which, remember, under Thunder Stance, improves Thunder type attack by 100%, and her int and speed buffs by 100% for 6 turns. And we will do All You Mage. So our poor little big baddie now has pain, is debuffed to a degree, and here on the third turn, now we're going to blow the AF gauge. We're just going to use all of our first attacks. We're going to use Mini Astrophy, Levin Longitus, Rage and Snuff, and Foudry Hatch. Foudry Hatch will awaken the zone, so you'll see the damage go up even more after she goes. Oops, I just cast Lunatic. You'll see that Big Baddie has already lost all of its health. So we're just going to keep going and see how high we can get this combo rate. The Thunder Zone is awakened and at 99 stacks. And we keep going, we keep going, we keep going. We're at about 700% combo rate. And I think we're going to run out of time. So that's a lot of damage. So how much damage is that? Well, up until recently, we really couldn't show you. We just knew that it was more than 1 billion. Well now, if you have completed the Mythos, Sin and Steel, Chapter 3, technically you don't even have to complete it. You just have to go far enough in it to unlock Nagsham. There is Parallel Time Layer Nagsham. And Parallel Time Layer Nagsham has a new big baddie to beat up on. But this one's a little different. This one gives you, first of all, he restores your health and your mana, and he gives you a full AF gauge to work with. However, you have one single turn. So what we're going to do, we're going to blow the AF gauge, we're going to cast all 3s, which in this case, we don't really need the third skill, but we'll just do it anyway for simplicity's sake. And then we'll do all 2s and then all 1s. And we're just going to see how much damage we can do. 3, 3, 3, 3. 2, 2, 2, 2. And all 1s. And the combo bar is in the 500s now. Remember, previously we got to about 700. Close to 750. Now the nice thing about this big baddie is we're going to see the total amount of damage we do in one single burst. Combo wise, we are now at 900%. And we get to hear Miyu talk for a little while. So this Thunder team, in one single turn, did, drumroll please, Oh yeah, Guns has to get his hit in. 51 billion in damage. So not bad at all. 51 billion. Now, in a real boss fight, some bosses have extra lives, a lot of bosses have barriers, HP stoppers. So in reality, this number, it looks impressive. It's definitely a very, very large number, but is it going to be a realistic number? Not in a real fight. And remember that we also don't have rage right now. There's nothing stopping a real boss from attacking any of these characters. However, that's still a very, very, very massive amount of damage. So let's go use this team in a real boss fight and see how it works. Let's try this team on the Uquajis. So big question, are any immune to magic or thunder? Alright, there's a resist. Nothing. A resist, because that's magic. And a resist. Alright. Now, remember that since she's with thunder users, we have a full AF gauge to work with. So we are going to blow the AF gauge and do the exact same thing we did to the big baddie. We're going to start with all 3s, all 2s, and then all 1s. 3, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, 1s, you'll see that the Uquajis have already been defeated, and we are still nowhere close to running out of our AF gauge. Now, one thing, if there are barriers, Miyu is a barrier piercer. Now, she's not the biggest damage dealer here, obviously Izuna is, but there is a way for this team to deal with barriers as well. So there is the Thunder team that just completely obliterated the Uquajis. Now that you've seen Izuna in a Thunder team, we're going to see how she works with a magic team. My magic team, which is usually my null magic team because of Xianghua, I basically swapped out Xianghua for Izuna. Myunfa, Alter, Iffy, and Flammopolis are pretty much geared the same they always are. Here's Myunfa, Izuna, Iffy, and Flammopolis. For back row, we have Yuna. She has Power of Thunder Staff, Enhance if Max HP Staff, and Yuna is an Eastern character, so she can have Almighty Power Eastern. With Xianghua, I usually have Enhance if low HP, just for the times when Xianghua has gotten damaged. But this one doesn't rely on health, so it is always going to be active. Why Eastern? As I have indicated, Izuna is an Eastern personality, so we're making use of that personality. For the other back row character, we have Raven, who, like before, has Amnesia and Mask for the personality traits and Power of Awakening Staff. So in this team, Myunfa has Charity Blend. Charity Blend deploys Magic Fate Stance with 3 staff allies in the front. And we have at least 3 staff allies in the front. Now, Myunfa also has the ability to awaken a zone. I think it only works once. I'm not 100% sure on that. I'd have to... actually, I have it open here. Yeah, she just has Charity Blend. So, Yakumo can awaken the zone multiple times. Xianghua can awaken it multiple times. But they're the only 2 right now. So, with this particular team, we may or may not have an awakened magic zone all the time. but that's okay. Izuna's insanely powerful. Sidekick-wise, we have Tetra and Gunce. Gunce, because once you blow the AF gauge and it is empty, his aura kicks in and all stats go up by 20% for the team. And then Tetra, just great for healing purposes. So like before, we're back in the old Nagsham with the 5-turn dummy. Round 1 will usually look something like this. Charity Blend for Magic Zone, Tengu Sublimation, which isn't quite as important anymore because Iffy has Blood Contract, which is kind of the Mind's Eye-ish equivalent. However, we still get the chain buff with Tengu Sublimation. Iffy will inflict pain and poison on the enemy. In her case, it lasts the entire fight, unless the boss does something to actually remove it, like some HP stoppers will sometimes get rid of it. And Philopoulos AS, on the first turn, we can buff the team or we can debuff the boss severely. So in this case, let's just go ahead and buff the team. It lasts for 5 turns, and this is only a 5-turn fight anyway. Turn 2, she can begin praying, or I can put down Please, which will, either one will buff Izuna. So we'll just go ahead and pray. We'll do the Thunder God dance. Now we're not in Thunder Zone, so it's only a 50% buff. We will buff with Nocturnal Procession, and we will go ahead and debuff the boss. Not that the boss is attacking us. You'll notice also that we did not start with a full AF gauge because we don't have Thunder characters in the lineup. Turn 3, we will cast Please. She will cast Rage and Snuff. We'll go ahead and whatever, cast Hypnophobia, and we'll do Pintolfa Un. And you'll see that Big Baddie was destroyed before even Pintolfa Un's magic break took effect. So this is a pretty powerful team too. So let's go to the other Big Baddie and see how much damage we can do with it. Not necessarily a competition, because this team, Iffy can sacrifice Izuna and give her barrier piercing. So this team is a little more flexible against bosses that barrier pierce. There's no one team that's good for all bosses. So we're going to kind of do the same thing as before, since we only have the 1 turn. We're going to cast all 3s. Even though La Mer Archon doesn't really do anything in a real fight, we'd probably want to reduce the enemy's power and intellect just so it hurts the team less. Then we're going to cast all 2s. And then we're going to cast all 1s. And just keep spamming all 1s. Now, Thunder teams are known for raising combo rates to ridiculously high levels, as you saw. So this team will not have nearly as high of a combo rate. But all the same, they still should do a decent amount of damage. 3, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, and then all 1s. Tampered Roast, which Myunfa Altar does awaken Magic Zone once. And you saw that I worked it in. So this team did 3 billion in damage. Not nearly as much as the Thunder team. But 3 billion is still extremely powerful. So let's take this team out for a spin and see how they do against a boss. To showcase Izuna as a magic damage dealer in a magic team, we're going to take on the Dragon God. We are going to deploy Magic Zone, improve her damage, Pain Poison, and in her case, we will go ahead and Hermodal Galder right away. Turn 2, we're going to reduce the enemy's power. Buff. We'll go ahead and start attacking. And we will begin praying. Because we're not in the Another Force, she attacked twice and brought the boss already down to his HP stopper. Turn 3, we're going to please. She's going to attack again. At this point, we've already cast Pain and we have buffed, so she's just going to attack. And we are going to... we'll rebuff the staff buff because the boss is null to water type attacks. And she obliterated the boss. The last thing I want to showcase regarding Izuna is, of course, her Stellar skill. If you have Izuna Stellar Awakened, you have access to Secret Art Thundercrack. It's an attack that hits 5 times. After the attack, you enter Hyperfocus mode. In Hyperfocus mode, your strength increases 20 times, and if you don't use it in Another Force, it increases even further. Also, you are less likely to be targeted. The wiki suggests that you are not targeted at all by enemies. I'm assuming an attack that will affect all 4 characters will still, target and do damage to her. If she takes an attack, whether or not it causes damage, you lose Hyperfocus mode. If you use it in Stellar Burst, you activate Lunatic and enter Hyperfocus mode, which means her damage goes through the roof. Her other stellar skills, she gets 3 godlike powers on the user, and if you have 3 Thunder allies, you gain the AF gauge up to 100%. That's how come in the Thunder examples you saw earlier, she started off with 100% AF bar at the start of the fight. It was because I had 3 Thunder allies on the Thunder team. When light power is greater, enemy's Thunder resistance is reduced during a Stellar Burst, and as long as I have 2 Thunder allies, every time she acts, she gains light power. Otherwise, I just have kind of a smattering. I have her maxed out in levels. I just don't have all of her stats and MP maxed out. Now, she's only level 85, so keep that in mind. Otherwise, she is geared the same along with the rest of my Thunder team. Alright, turn 1. We are going to improve damage for chains. We are going to inflict pain. We are going to do the Mind's Eye. And we are going to deploy Thunder Zone. Now, without any of the other buffs, we're just going to go ahead and Thundercrack. Not Stellar Bursted, just a regular old Thundercrack. And the others all just Lunatic. When she is in hyper-focus mode, you'll notice she is now glowing gold. And that means the next Thundercrack is going to be improved in strength by 20 times. And you can see that zapped about 80% of Big Baddie's health. She stays in hyper-focus mode. Remember, she only loses it once she takes damage. So she can repeat Thundercrack over and over and over again until she takes damage and do this monstrous amount of destruction. Now keep in mind, that was without all the party buffs. If you want to see exactly how much damage she can do, let's hit up the parallel time layer. Now, one thing to remember with Thundercrack if it's not used in another force, the strength increases more. This second test dummy, you're only in another force. So you're not going to see that part of the stellar skill being used.
We strive for perfection.
Alright, we have one single turn. We are going to do 3, 1, 3, 3, and then all 2s, and then all 1s. So 3, whoops, all 2s, all 1s. I kind of messed up the order there. We're in hyper-focus mode now. We can Stellar Burst, which will give us Lunatic as well. And we continue our assault. You'll notice a lot of 2 147s. She is already at damage cap with every single Thundercrack she hits. And once Miyu talks, we can see our grand total in damage, with a slight mess up in order at the very beginning of the AF gauge anyway. Oh yeah, Gunts still has to attack. Let's go, Gunts. Add to that total. And we did 68 billion damage in one turn with the AF gauge, which is almost my high score. My all-time high, which was with Izuna, is 69 billion in damage. Now, I didn't spend a lot of time. I just kind of did it to see how much damage I can do. So I have not optimized a team for this. I've seen on Reddit, some people showed me YouTube clips, screenshots, and so forth of doing like 200 billion. One Japanese player has broken 1 trillion already on this guy. So don't think that this is the best team for this new test dummy. It's not. However, still, it's about 70 billion in damage in one turn by spamming Thundercrack over and over and over again. I'll take that. Now that I've explained some of Izuna's stellar abilities, specifically her Thundercrack and her ability to restore the AF gauge, let's make use of those against the mysterious Chaos Ogre Hard. The mysterious Chaos Ogre Hard has a barrier, and while Miyu technically is a barrier-piercing character, we're not focusing on Miyu, we're focusing on Izuna. So I'm going to show you how we can very quickly defeat this boss with Izuna's powers. So we're going to blow the AF gauge, we are going to deploy Thunder Stance, we are going to buff up the characters and cast Rage. We are going to hit all the 2s for those buffs and debuffs, and then we're going to spam all 1s and break through his barrier on turn number 1. 3, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 2. Now all 1s, and we're going to break the barrier. And there we go. Barrier is broken. We could Stellar Burst if we want to. That will allow her to enter Lunatic mode. Not that it really matters. But against maybe a more stubborn boss in the future, that's something to consider. So now that we've broken through the barrier, the mysterious Chaos Ogre prepares one final attack, and he pops up with a barrier. Now, we don't have the AF gauge to burst through that barrier, but we do have the Lunatic, and she has her 3 godlike powers. So if we hit Lunatic, that will fill up the AF gauge. The other characters can just attack, do whatever they feel like doing. So now we have the AF gauge to work with. Now the boss does do a massive amount of damage, but the team can survive it. And thanks to the Lunatic Plus, we have the AF Burst again, and we only have to eat through 9 stacks of barriers. So you know what we're going to do? 1, 1, 1, 1. And you can see that the boss has already been defeated. And just to add insult to injury, we're just going to keep that combo rate high. We'll throw in another burst just for fun. And I guess just to make the video shorter, we'll just go ahead and stop at the 800% mark. We'll just let the AF gauge finish up. So that is how Izuna, and making use of her stellar skills, makes bosses like this pretty much a breeze. In summary, Izuna is a very, very powerful thunder magic character. When geared very well, she can be quite lethal. As far as skills, definitely Secret Art Thundercrack is an amazing stellar skill to have. It's extremely powerful, and hyperfocus mode will last for future attacks. As long as she does not take damage, she will continue to be extremely powerful. And in Stellar Burst, she gains Lunatic. So she's definitely worth considering to Stellar Awaken. As far as her other skills, Rage and Snuff is a very powerful skill. If you don't have her Stellar Awakened, this is the skill you probably want to use to spam. And Tengu's Sublimation gives her Mind's Eye, improves staff damage characters' power, so she actually buffs other characters as well. Pair her with Shanghua, and the two of them can probably be extremely powerful together. And strength increase based on number of chains, so she gets that. She can deploy Thunder Zone if she wants to. She can inflict poison if she wants to. She can buff her own intelligence and speed tremendously. So there's really nothing that she can't do to make herself powerful and to obliterate enemies. So that's pretty much my video on Izuna. If you can Stellar Awaken her, Thundercrack is great. If not, you saw videos using Rage and Snuff as her main damage attack. Not nearly as powerful as Thundercrack, but it does get the job done for a lot of bosses. Anyway, I hope this video helps you. Casual Crono, signing out.